everyone, welcome back to another multiplayer battle for Warhammer 2. We have Wulfric and his Norskins versus Morathi and her Edgy Elves. For my army, well, I wanted to bring Mammoths, so I have Mammoths. We have Wulfric on his Mammoth, and then 2 additional War Mammoths. I usually bring the Feral Mammoths, but I wanted to splurge a little bit on our Mammoths today, so we got the 2 War Mammoths, which come with a retinue of soldiers up here that will do bonus versus large damage with their throwing spears. So that's a neat little bonus to a already really powerful unit of the War Mammoth. And again, we got Wulfric up here leading up the middle on his Mighty Mammoth. Have the Sword of Torgold, which is going to increase his damage by a whole bunch for 44 seconds. Also have the Hunter of Champions, which is a great debuff against Lords and Heroes. It's going to lower their speed, armor, and melee defense, just make them really squishy and not that fast to run away from Wulfric, so it's a nice debuff there. Also have the Fight or Die, which is the AoE leadership and melee attack buff, and the Sea Fang, which he can summon magically somehow from the ocean, which is the ship of his Norskins, and he's going through a tree right now, which looks really weird. But yeah, so we got Wulfric there, we got 2 War Mammoths, we have 3 Marauder Berserkers, which I think can kill a lot of units that the Dark Elves can bring, as long as they're not chewed up by ranged fire or maybe rear charged or charged in general by like kind of heavier cav. These guys can kind of just kill a lot of the units that the enemy Dark Elves can bring. They would have a harder time against their heavily armored ones, of course, because they're not really armor piercing focused, but in general I think they're pretty solid. So we got 3 Marauder Berserkers and 1 group of Marauders down here. We have 2 Marauder Horsemen just to try and fend off any flying units, maybe do some skirmishing damage to heavy cav that they have. They're just, I think Marauder Horsemen are a solid pick for Norska, and especially Chaos, because it's one of their few answers to like air and stuff. So, I don't know. I like the fast attack Marauder Horseman for the Norsemen, so we have 2 of them here. Also, I have a Shaman Sorcerer of Death in the back here with a Spirit Leech and the Aspect... This is called the Aspect? Sorry, no, this is Doom and Darkness. Doom and Darkness, which can lower the leadership of 16 to enemy units. If you overcast it, it can be lowered by 16 in an AoE. And then, to round out our fast attacks, we have 2 Norscan Warhounds, 1 over here, and then 1 over here hidden in this fort. Actually, I guess they're not really hidden right now at all, are they? Unfortunate. But anyway, we got 2 puppies, and that's our army. For Morathi, we have Morathi. She is on a flying mount here. She still has her armor piercing and anti-large damage. And to go over her abilities here, we have the Wand of Kaur. It's basically like a Doom Bolt that she has a cast of 2 times there. So that's a unique spell that she can have. We also have Soul Stealer, which is going to be a really good life leeching spell. I think it's a solid spell for Morathi, along with the Power of Darkness, which is another good spell for Morathi, which gives her access to more winds of magic. Melkoth's Mystifying Miasma, which can slow enemy units, and it's very cheap, so it's pretty good with that. We also have Soul Blight, which is going to lower armor and weapon damage of enemy units, which I think is a very solid spell to take, especially against Norska. They have a lot of heavy hitting, high weapon strength dealing enemies, like the Mammoths, so this could really lower their damage for a little bit of time too, and make them a little squishier. And then also she brought the Heartrender and the Enchanting Beauty, which is the debuffs that can stack on units around her, which I think is very solid for Morathi. So it's going to be Morathi. They also have a front line of 4 Dread Spears. Yeah, they have 4 Dread Spears. They have 4 of the Shades with Great Swords. So this is a pretty unique unit. They do massive amounts of armor piercing damage on their missile damage there. They're also stalking. But if you do get into melee, the Greatsword variants can still wreck heavy infantry pretty well. Now the thing is though, they only have 30 armor. They are a lower numbered unit. They only have 60, so they're not really a straight up infantry unit. They are a hybrid unit, but they can still do pretty well against armor targets in melee because of their greatswords, which gives them a bonus versus infantry of 12. They're still going to kind of get hit often with only a 32 melee defense, and again with a 30 armor, they're going to be kind of squishy, so you don't really necessarily want to throw them into melee, but like if they shoot all their shots, because you really want them to shoot all their shots, they can still double up as a pretty hard-hitting, squishy infantry unit. So there are 4 of those Shades of Greatswords in here, so if I had brought like Marauders, that would be very, very, very scary, because these guys would counter Marauders with their missiles and also in melee. But they're also very, very expensive, so you really gotta be careful when using the Shades. So they got 4 of them there, and they also have 2 of the Witch Elves, which have that rampaging poison damage and bonus versus infantry, but they're not... I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure that the Berserkers can take Witch Elves. I'm pretty sure, because the Berserkers hit harder. And who cares if you're rampaging into the target that you want to kill? I think the Berserkers should be able to take them one-on-one. Anyway, so they got, oh sorry, 3 of them. I think I said 2. They have 3 of those. So that is their, oh, and they also have, where are they? They have those flyer guys. Oh, here they are. We have the Raven Heralds, which are the flying crossbow cav. They have kind of limited ammunition. They're very expensive, but they can deal a lot of damage. Focus firing on enemy targets as long as they hit. And yeah, so that is their army. Let's press play. So they're going to start to try and, well, first they're going to cast that bound spell on Morathi, which again is kind of like a Doom Bolt, so that's one of the casts. She only gets one more of those. Does a little bit of damage to Wolfric there, but it's actually a decent-sized chunk, because on the Mammoth they have a lot of hit points, so it wasn't that bad damage, really. Anyway, so they started to threaten with the Raven Herald, so I threw in our Marauder Horsemen in front of our army to try and deter that, and now I'm going to stick them on Morathi, who is flying over here towards our Chaos, or towards our Norskin puppies, not Chaos puppies, because they can do a lot of damage to her with their missile fire, because she only has 40 armor, and she has no shield. So the Norskin Marauder Horsemen here can do a lot of damage to her, even in the air, because they have throwing javelins. So right now we're just trying to keep these two units zoned out for the most part. Again, sticking one unit over here. We're just going to basically zone out this other unit with our Marauder Horsemen here. I don't believe I stick both of them after Morathi necessarily. I think it's just the one. So we're going to get it, like, look at that one salvo. It does already a decent chunk. I mean, it's kind of small, but only a few of them hit her. The point is, the Marauder Horsemen can do really good against Morathi as long as they just keep chucking their javelins. Also going to be maneuvering my army over here because I can see that the enemy has deployed very widespread. I don't see the shades yet, but just in general, we can see how widespread the Dread Spears are. So what I'm trying to do here is get out of the center. Instead of just charging up the center and being able to get flanked by both sides, I want to try and shift and then move up to hit their flank. And so then it takes more time for units that are on this side to wheel around this way or this way to reinforce and fight us off here. So that is why I shifted from the center over to a flank, because we have a nice condensed army. They have a very widespread one, so it's going to be harder for them, or longer for them, to envelop us if we charge on a flank instead of charging in the middle. I hope that made sense. That's why I'm doing that over there. So Morathi discovers one of our puppies, or flies over to our puppies, so we're going to actually run our puppies over here. This is when I start seeing that they have shades. I now know this one, and I think this one too, or this one right here maybe. But they will be revealing themselves very soon. So know that they at least have two, and I'm like, oh crap, we need to shut them down. So the shades are on the edge here, so I'm just going to run our puppies right into them, because we're just going to tie them up. We're going to throw in a Mammoth into these shades as well. Morathi's actually going to charge into our Marauder Horsemen, and they're going to be duking it out back here for a little while, which I'm okay with. We're going to charge Wolfric right at the middle and try and get into these shades. We're going to try and charge the other shades that will be coming up here, I believe, with our other third War Mammoth, getting our Berserkers, and we're trying to hit this flank very hard. So we got Berserkers, we got Marauders, we got a Mammoth, and we got the puppies, because I want to try and break this flank before the other units from the right flank get into the fight. So we can already, you know, have a lot of their numbers lowered. So there you go. You can see we've already terror routed the shades. We're casting the Doom and Darkness to try and terror out these Dread Spears. We've already done a lot of good damage to these shades. We're going to throw our Chaos Puppy, Norskin puppies, into another group of shades that were being protected by these Witch Elves. I believe the Witch Elves are going to rampage. Yeah, there we go. They have already rampaged Wolfric the Wanderer, who's taking so much damage. The Raven Heralds are also focusing down Wolfric the Wanderer. I have this Marauder Horseman will eventually be, if not already, shooting down the Raven Heralds. That's what they're going to be doing. Back here, you're going to see another one of those Doom Bolt spells, and you're going to notice that the Doom Bolt is actually going to chunk these Marauder Horsemen a lot. Trying to keep them within view so you can see when that happens. But they're going to be fighting for a little while. Again, Marauder Horsemen on their flying dudes. And now we're just going to start chasing their shades. Look at that. Look at that chunk. Oh my goodness. Anyway, War Puppies, Norskin puppies come back from routing. They're going to be thrown into the other group of shades. My second War Puppies, or Norskin, I don't know why I'm calling War Puppies, have been into this group of shades. And you can see, like, we even did a rear charge, but the shades are holding their own. And they will eventually rout the Norskin Warhounds. But it is buying time for our War Mammoth to get nearby. Meanwhile, Wolfric the Wanderer is kind of being held back because he was rampaging, so I wasn't able to do much. You can see we were chasing some Witch Elves down with our two Marauder Berserkers, but we're going to be pulling them back into the fight. We have our Shaman Sorcerer of Death just kind of hanging out, fighting Dread Spears for the most part, because he can do decent damage to the Dread Spears. And yeah, so right now we're going to be sicking a Marauder Berserker on this shade, this Mammoth on this shade, and this Mammoth on this shade. Very expensive to have two of our Mammoths on one of shade each, but it's very important that we do not allow them to fire. So we're also going to get support from these puppies over here, so they're going to be on those two, and again, we're going to be chasing there and there. And we have done a lot of good damage to the Raven Heralds, but now Morathi has come in after routing our Marauder Horsemen, at least temporarily, and she is going to come in and try and finish off Wolfric the Wanderer, who is rampaging again because of the poison from the Witch Elves, but we do have Berserkers nearby to try and destroy the Witch Elves, try and do some damage to Morathi, who is now under the effect of Doom and Darkness, because we're trying to rout the Dread Spears again, and also see if we can rout the Witch Elves very fast, because now Wolfric is in a very bad spot. He is teetering on the edge. He only has a few hit points left. I say a few because he starts with like 11,000 on the Mammoth. Raven Herald's still firing down, even though I've been focusing them down, now focusing them down with both of our Marauder Horsemen. But they have already used up most of their ammunition. Wolfric is going to be routing, and he is going to actually be brought down here by the Raven Heralds. I'm now pulling back one of our War Mammoths because our puppies managed to finish off one shade. I'm going to pull back the second War Mammoth because now these puppies are freed to finish chasing these guys off, because the Mammoth was able to catch up and take them out. Berserkers, though, still chasing. This is a good trade. Berserkers cost less than these shades by a lot, and so I'm just willing to let them run off into the great beyond or whatever. But we have managed to rout off a very expensive unit of the Raven Heralds. They did do a ton of damage to Wolfric, though, unfortunately. But now we do have another War Mammoth back here trying to finish off the Witch Elves and the Dread Spears. And I believe Morathi took a lot of damage from the Mammoth, or from the Horsemen. Some damage from Wolfric the Wanderer, so she was forced to retreat up into the air. And I think she also managed to help rout our Shaman Sorcerer of Death. But he is still on the battlefield. He is still active. And I believe we Spirit Leech? Yeah, so there we go. We Spirit Leech Morathi, so that's going to do a lot of damage to her. Now we have 2 Mammoths here, one of which is very healthy. The other one is still above 50% hit points, which is a lot of hit points. We still got Berserkers here, which are going to do a lot of good damage to the remaining infantry of the Witch Elves. Or, sorry, Edgy Elves. And Witch Elves. In the background there, the puppies managed to shatter another group of the Shades of Greatswords. Now they're going to go over onto these Shades, pin them down to allow time for the marauding Berserkers to get up there and catch them into melee. Which the Berserkers into the Shades is a great fight for us. The Shades are anti-armor. These guys are anti-Shades, basically. So they're going to get in there and do a lot of good damage over the area. And we have now finished off Morathi because she was in a duel with a giant mammoth, which is not good for her. And when she dies, you can see that's just going to do a huge morale hit to the rest of the army, and that's going to effectively end the game. So Wolfric, he was getting focused down throughout most of that, but he still just had a lot of hit points on that Mammoth, so he was able to tank a lot of damage. Our Marauder Horsemen did a lot of damage to Morathi, and more importantly to the Raven Heralds, so we brought them down. And then we were able to kind of just chase off and murder their Shades one by one. Our Puppies did really good at catching them, allowing other units to kind of come by and smash. The Mammoths smashed, because that's what Mammoths do. And then again, like the 3 Marauding Berserkers just countered their entire army. Basically, everything here is low armor, so the Berserkers were just having a field day no matter what unit they were fighting. They were loving it. They have high melee attack, bonus versus infantry. They have very, very just high weapon damage, and none of these units can really resist that much of it. So yeah, they had a field day with this fight. So as everyone was focusing on Wolfric, the Berserkers were just going like, haha, we got dual axes and we're cool and stuff. But I was kind of surprised to see that Morathi bounce spell there did so much damage to those Marauder Horsemen. I'm going to have to remember that. I didn't expect it to do that much to them, but it really just chunked them down hard. Because I think that spell it even says it's good against single targets, which I guess also means it's good against cav units. Because, Jesus. But anyway, one of the Witch Elves managed to get 85 kills, which is pretty good. Probably against our normal Marauder group, I would imagine. And yeah, the Raven Heralds, it only shows 2 kills, but they did do a lot of damage to Wolfric. And I think maybe some other damage to some other Mammoths as well. But in any case, good game to Ronan. I hope you enjoyed. And let's go watch a cinematic view. Morathi. Just like saying her name, I don't know why. Magical floating spear. Oh, I forgot about the, like, tentacle tusks. Oh, it's so weird. Puppies! Those javelins come from the War Mammoths just hitting their backs. rampaging war mammoths. Jeez. Oh yeah, also there was a sea fang. By the way. I cast it on a group of shades. Look at all these javelins for steeds like Foot is wearing. No, Wolfric! Wolfric, no! Sad day. Oh, hey, there's another mammoth. Tis a glorious day again. Oh, hey, look! It's another mammoth! 2 mammoths and a Marathi. It's a bad day for Marathi right there. What is this? Oh, Jesus, javelins! Farewell, Marathi. There we go. Hope you enjoyed, everybody. I will see you all next time. Take care.